Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you for joining Shop Talk Live. My name is Rick, also known as Rick's Two Cents, along with my fellow co-host from Steve Makes Everything,
Howdy, y'all.
Andy from Andy Bird Builds,
Hello.
and Roger from Roger's Shop.
Howdy, howdy from a very cold Illinois.
Looks like quite a few people already joined us in live. Thank you. I appreciate everyone. Sorry if we were being goofy and messaging our own. We were doing some tests within StreamYard. So let's see here. Andy, I saw one of your videos
Did
today.
you?
I actually commented
It's about time.
about a website. I won't mention it because I'll let you speak on it. That allows you some downloadable options to get started. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, Cut Rocket.
I had said that it was kind of like a cheat sheet way to get going, and maybe, I think you should still learn toolpath and things like that. And I'm saying should because this is the path I'm starting to go down. You guys already had me on that path, but I think it would give me a starter, boost to be able to at least start some files. Do you want to kind of speak on that?
Yeah, the video I put out was just the first project I made with my Shapeoko 5 Pro, and I did this series strictly for the beginner that has zero experience, and how to a route. There's a lot of routes. We've talked about them a lot on here. A lot of routes into CNC. By no means is this the only one, but I know this one works. So cutrocket.com is they're really it's actually owned by Carbide 3D makers of the Shapeoko, but they're really building it out, and they've got a lot of community projects on there that already had toolpaths loaded. And the point that Rick that you're bringing up is it's a great way. The point I made in that video is a great way to learn how to make your own projects is by looking at projects that are already toolpaths that are already set up, right? You're leveraging someone else's knowledge and standing on their shoulders. A lot of people just download files and they only make what someone else makes, and they don't know how to change it. And so my approach isn't that. It's not just make projects that only someone else can create. It's getting in there and reverse engineering and learning this is what they set up a pocketing toolpath, and this is what it equals. And that way you can do it yourself eventually. So
yeah. So I had
did I sum that up? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, absolutely. And I had said some people can call it a crutch, and I think it's okay to have a crutch at first, or you can even call it training wheels.
Yeah.
But at some point you got to take them off, or you should, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're only limited that you can create what you're able to purchase, and that even comes with lasers. I can't believe how many people go on these Facebook groups and they have this generic image, and they're like, "Can anyone create this image for me?" And you're like, "Dude, just trace it." Like they don't even know the light burn. Like trace done. You know what I mean? Like, so it's definitely there's a learning curve and everything, but that's going to be my game plan. I want to find some good resources and some downloadable files, and then the other thing is that even if you did purchase something, like let's say I want to start making American flags, but I want to put our IBW logo in there. I want to put the Local 9 logo. I want to put some lineman stuff in there. I have to know how to edit that file. If I purely know how to just take that image and, just click, then I'm really limiting myself what somebody else can, purchase. And if a customer wants something creative, then, I don't have the ability to edit the file.
Yep. So Minnie's going in the shop.
I was going to say there's somebody walking behind you, but it had 4 legs.
Yeah, she's going in to check, see how production's going. She's like, "What are we doing?"
It's a Jaguar.
Portuguese water dog?
No, it's a Labradoodle.
Oh.
Yeah, Minnie the Labradoodle.
Oh, is that a snowblower I see in the back?
No.
Oh, I thought that red and black was. I thought, yeah.
That's my son's workbench.
Oh, okay. It's a little toy one?
It's a little toy one, yeah.
Yeah, my son has one of those too. He actually came up to me today all mad with his little drill, power drill, because he broke his bit. And I said, "Don't worry, mijo. I'm going to be breaking a lot of bits real soon."
That's awesome.
You'll learn.
Yeah. So I got the crag table 6x6 together.
Okay.
I posted some pictures that I posted, I did some framing on the inside. And I know people are going to criticize me and say that was overkill, that really isn't needed for the laser. But the reason that I did all that was because it's such a big footprint. Now, keep in mind, I'm not using my entire basement, I'm using about a quarter of my basement. That by having a 64 by 64 table for one laser, another table for another laser, that's really occupying a lot of space. So I want to kind of use that bottom drawer as like, or that shelf as storage for lumber. So I need to make sure it's able to hold the weight.
Yeah.
You got this.
Yeah, see, Chris here has got a CO2 laser. User asked him if to make some 6-inch cake toppers. Took 3 minutes to teach him how to do it. Yeah, it doesn't take long, and if you're cutting them out of acrylic and you have a CO2 laser, it's super simple. I did quite a few back at Halloween for someone.
This is the angle I take too. It's like it's easier to teach someone to fish than fish for them, right? So
Yeah.
like people come to me all the time and say, "Hey, can you make this?" It's like you have a tool. I can tell you how to make it, right? You can just do it, like learn, and hopefully that's a better way, right? Because now whoever Chris was talking to here can make cake toppers and sell them, right, or do whatever. So yeah, kudos to Chris.
So I think it's definitely good as a community to be able to lean on each other when someone is strong in a different skill set. That's really the reason behind this particular live, right? We all have certain experiences and all bring something to the table.
Yep.
But I also think that just besides the ability to learn a skill set, it's also ability to lean on each other when you don't have the ability to create something. Someone reached out to me from our live yesterday and said, "Hey Rick, those hat clips, that you guys are showing, I have a customer who wants to do these for an LGBT event, but I don't have the ability to do this. But I don't even really necessarily want to make any money. I just want to I want to create it for this customer. And I basically told them like, just cover the cost of the blanks. It's not a big deal."
I like this comment here. The fine line between fishing and just standing on the dock looking dumb.
Yeah, I do a lot of standing on the dock.
We've all done that before.
Mine typically isn't standing though. I'm typically moving pretty quickly, so it's like it would be like me running up and down the dock, looking down,
trying not to fall in.
You got your safety vest on?
Yeah, right.
Clayton says, Shop Talk Live.
Awesome. Hey, Clayton, I saw you post something about the Nano Duo. Did you actually get one? Or were you just
think he's pitching
posting a sign in envy?
Yeah, no, I think he's pitching a sign to them like, give me one kind of deal.
Yeah.
Showcasing his abilities.
It's a nice little laser, actually. Mine is very alpha, so they're actually going to send me a production one when they get them out there. But it does what it says it's going to do, and I can actually see times when I'd want to use it to just engrave logos on things. That's what it's perfect for.
I was surprised that they Longer didn't offer me to demonstrate that one. Normally I get all the Longer stuff, but I didn't get an invitation on this one.
Yeah, I didn't get one either, but I got an invitation for like 4 other lasers. They were like a 20 watt or all. I'm like, you already gave me a 40. Why am I going to kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why they even sent me one. I think it was just like it's still in the Kickstarter, right? So I think they just wanted to get a little drum up a little excitement. So
yeah,
I like it. Anyway, it's an interesting laser. So I like it better than the Nano, just because you've got IR and a more powerful blue laser too.
There's a new 55 watt CO2 laser. It's got some attention. I can't say much about it, but they said every influencer who's done a review so far has sent it back. So they said,
that's a good sign.
But the point is kind of, I think what Steve is saying, like they may not send out to a bunch of people. You're kind of a beta tester, and I think that's okay, right?
Yeah, they told me up front that this was it was a hand built, pre-production kind of laser. So I didn't go in with any shock like, oh, this didn't work when I tried it. They gave me about, 4 updates to the software in the span of a week or 2.
Right. So you did your job. You literally reported bugs, improved the product.
I reported a few.
Right. So you improved the product. So the finished product wouldn't be different, So
Yeah. Although given my schedule, I didn't have a lot of time to do bug checking for people, but
Right.
it was worth it. I think I like it.
And Taylor said sometimes you go fishing with no intention to catch any fish. Sometimes all you catch is a
Yeah.
bug.
Well, sometimes I go just to drink beer.
Yeah, there you go. Clayton said, yes, I'd like them to send me one. Yeah.
Well, you can have mine, but it's pretty buggy.
Yeah. The Feather said, Duel's still in Kickstarter. I think they start sending May or June. Yeah, so they're still early phases.
They amped up their Kickstarter pretty quickly, though. Like, it's well overfunded now.
Yeah, I saw that. What's your guys' thoughts on these companies that have other products, but they're still using Kickstarter to launch these things?
I struggle with this, actually.
Yeah.
Like you see a company like Xtool, which is a giant in this business, and they start all their projects on Kickstarter.
And Reality does the same thing. I mean, a multi-million-dollar company, although their tech support absolutely sucks, but otherwise, they're always starting their stuff at Kickstarter. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I don't know.
I think that has to do with impressing the board, right? Because they're being self-funded in some ways.
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing that or if they're just testing the market, right? Like they're saying, oh, nobody wants to fund this, so it's not going to be a successful product, or it got funded in the Nano Duo got funded in like 8 hours.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gauging it. Yeah, gauging interest to use that information for like production.
So what would happen if it never meets funding criteria? They give everyone.
I don't know. I've never seen one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
But I would bet that if it got slower trajectory on the funding than they expected, they'd probably say, well, maybe let's delay this or let's go reinvent it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something to it. Clearly, that these companies, these are smart people.
Yeah, there's got to be a reason to it, right?
Yeah, I doubt that it's because they need the money.
Right. Why most people do Kickstarter.
Yeah, but the other thing is that why would you not use somebody else's money if you didn't have to use your own?
OPM.
Yep.
Yeah, although I don't think that products they ship as a result of Kickstarter are actually money makers for them. Like it's probably break even at best. Like then the Duo is 55% off right now on Kickstarter. Like that's got to be their margin, right? Because the margin on lasers is actually pretty low.
So what Roger didn't tell you is that he's from the Chicagoland area. So this is influence from the gangster days of the double drums.
Okay, well, I'm going to answer this question here from Chris. It says, the spool hub locks for the A1, did I design them or find the file? The file is on Maker's World. Said did a search but couldn't find them. Look for spool holders, spool locks for the A1 or for the AMS light. And I did modify the enclosure, as you can see right here. I have not put that up on Maker's World because I'm not sure that file has a no derivatives clause in it. If it has a no derivatives clause, I can't post this. I haven't researched that yet. But this is a little mod I made to cover those spool holders. And if anybody has an A1, you're wondering what this is about. On the downhill side, it is the side facing the printer here, I had a problem with the spools because of gravity actually coming off of the holders and binding up on the holder, on the cover. So I took the covers off to go ahead and make the print. Then the spool fell off and fell on the floor. So yeah, that's where I put the spool locks on, just this one side. I've got it on both of the printers now. And of course, then you can't use the dry box cover. So made this little modification, and I posted a video today on how I did that. And I actually laser cut the covers on CO2 laser. So yes, you can cut PLA and PETG on a CO2 laser, no problem.
Nice. South Milwaukee. I bought a Bamboo One A1 thanks to Roger and all his videos.
Yeah, I should buy one of those too.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I can't say that I'm an affiliate because I criticize their tech support, so therefore I can't be an affiliate. So
I think what Roger said was he has He's offering 1-900 services for tech support. He's Roger. What's your email? What's your PayPal?
I applied for their to be an affiliate, to get an affiliate link to. And what if those that don't understand, for us YouTubers, if you're an affiliate, when somebody buys a product from your link, you get a small commission on it. It's not a great deal, but it helps. It pays the bills and so on. But I found out with Bamboo Labs, if you criticize anything on them, you will not be an affiliate. So, although I am a fan of Bamboo Labs and their printers and their products, their tech support had a problem. I criticize it, so therefore I'm not an affiliate. So there it is.
I think that whenever you're doing a review, like early on in our reviews, right, they says, what about these influencers that are doing back-to-back reviews? And where's that easy button, right, that they were saying? How come every single review, this is the best laser you can buy, this is the best every laser can't be the best, right? So if you're doing a true review, there's going to be pros, there's going to be cons, and as long as the product has more pros than cons, because nothing's flawless, and if you have legitimate feedback for the manufacturer to say, hey, I think you should improve this, and this, or like I had with the longer B1, I had 10 different problems. That's why I didn't bash longer and say this thing's a piece of junk. I had all these problems. I said, hey, I'm not going to publish this review because I'm having these problems. Can you help me resolve them? So now I'm going to publish it way later, but then say, if you also had these problems, this is how I resolved it. And I think that's being truthful and honest, as a reviewer.
Yeah, that's one thing I will say about Longer is their tech support is excellent.
Yeah. Even if there's more bad things than good things, at least your job as a reviewer is to make people aware of them, right? And they can decide for themselves whether that's a thing that's, a mountain they can't climb or not, right?
Yeah.
Imperial said, I have a Longer rotary for my B1. I've not opened it yet. Anybody know if it will work with my Omtech 60 watt or no to get an adapter?
So it will probably work, but you will need some sort of adapter, no doubt. A different cable, probably. I don't know what the Omtech has for a rotary plug. If it's a standard stepper motor plug, it might just plug right in. But if it's like the comm marker lasers, then you need to have a cable.
Roger, you're up.
Oh, the Elegoo. I have looked at Elegoos before. They don't have the multi-filament options like Bamboo does and Anycubic does. So I kind of passed on it. I do have an Anycubic Cobra Max coming because I sold my Longer LK5, which was an absolutely huge 3D printer. I sold that one to make room for this Anycubic because what we do, I need the multi-filament to, and not so much for multicolor, but if I'm running, let's say, a white colored product and the spool runs out, it'll just go right to the next one. I mean, that's one of the fantastic things about Bamboo and Anycubic. Now, I guess Creality has kind of the same thing, but Creality and I don't get along, so there won't be any Creality printers there.
Sounds like a grumpy old man.
I'm just keeping it real.
Well, I can say that. I mean, I have criticized Creality repeatedly because of their horrible tech support.
Are you an affiliate?
Absolutely not an affiliate with Creality.
Here you go, Roger.
So while I have issues with Creality's tech support, I still like their printers.
Dennis says, this is the best live show. Can I be one of your affiliates? You can be one of Andy's affiliates.
We'll give you 5% of everything we make here.
Yeah.
I do have one Creality printer still in production. I got Ender 3 V3 SE, which I'm still using, and I'm running prototypes on it. And it's a fine printer, but when it came, it was put together incorrectly on the hot end from the factory. And I actually did a video on it. They actually had the harness backwards on it. And I had to take it apart and turn it around, and their tech support was no help whatsoever. All they wanted to see was a video of it not working.
That annoys me. That's what they said to me too. When I had a problem with mine, they said, "Oh, send a picture of it." Okay, here's a picture of it or a video of it just sitting there doing nothing, right? Like,
The Ateza V35, when I originally had I think a 5 or 10 watt, then I upgraded to a 35 watt. They had some of the wires backwards and actually fried the board. And then when I started testing, I was like, hey, this is labeled wrong, right? And
Yeah.
I ended up posting a video on it. So if somebody else is doing the upgrade, like, hey, it's telling you these, but this is wrong. And then later on, they revised the manual and put it correctly, and they gave me a replacement board right away because, I followed their directions. Andy, do you have an affiliate program for your program?
For the course?
Yeah.
I do.
There you go. So, Dennis, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Go sell Andy's course.
I have a couple affiliates. I haven't really pushed it much, but yeah, it is a possibility.
You should drop it into our Facebook group.
I should.
If anyone wants to join. So if you're watching our live, you're not already part of our Facebook group, I suggest you do join. Again, this is a collective group of all of ours. So if you are in the business, so to speak, feel free to post any of your work. There's no
we're one shy of 350 people. So
who's going to be number 350?
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's a race.
Yeah. So questions, post and brag, do your flex, do what you gotta do. Yeah. So maybe Andy will post up, and if you guys want to advertise this course, that'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it. Can we talk? We haven't talked about Paul's work in a while. Paul Owen.
I think we talk about his work every week. It's so awesome.
Absolutely incredible. Paul
It's incredible.
does absolutely incredible work.
That last one, was it the gorilla?
The gorilla that's all kind of spacey.
That one, honestly, is probably my favorite.
You want to show it? Somebody want to share it?
I don't have it up.
There.
Here on this comment, Elegoo did say multicolor printing is coming this year for their new printer. If Elegoo would want to reach out to me to review one of the printers, I would be more than welcome.
What is your opinion? Go ahead. Sorry, Reg.
I'm not going to just go out and buy one because it's to me it's an unknown product.
Hey, I'm going to pull our faces off the screen. So
here, let me zoom in on this thing a bit. Oops. All of a sudden, we're looking at little Ricky or somebody. Anyway, that was it.
Meme page.
Yeah. Paul is a beast, man, for sure.
Yeah, like that gorilla is
it's pretty awesome.
Phenomenal.
So Paul is, I know he feels a bit upset because he's the only guy who posts regularly on our group, but he's taken a laser, and we've argued whether it's a tool or a workshop tool or whatever, but he's taken it and used it like a paintbrush, right?
Yeah.
So it's like his primary function isn't laser, his primary function is art.
Yes.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I would not try to step on any toes or anger anybody, but I would say in using a CNC to download a file and cut something, to using a laser to download a file and cut something, it's a software skill set for sure. Yep. But layering paint colors and doing all these things and adapting depth perceptions, like that's a whole different thing. That's an artistic ability to be able to do that. To me, that's just like, wow.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't even know where to start on how to create something like that.
Yeah, I've thought of doing a video, but then it would just look like so disingenuous when you compare anything I could possibly do to what Paul does.
Look like a stick man.
Hey, there he is.
Mona Lisa.
Paul's in the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's metallic paint. Yes.
Okay, to answer this question here, and I don't know an exact answer for it, a 4 or 5 pin aircraft plug is not technically called an aircraft plug. More like a DuPont plug or jack. Amazon does carry some adapters, but whether it's 4 or 5 pin and how that pin arrangement is made on the stepper motor. For example, what you would find on, let's say, a longer laser and a stepper motor, if you would take the same cable for a Creality printer, like an Ender 3V2, it's going to be opposite. Although it'll fit, the motor will run backwards.
Yeah.
So it depends on the manufacturer and how they want to pin things out.
Yeah. The comm marker connector is a 4-pin plug. The reason they're called aircraft plugs, aviation plugs, is because they screw together, right? They've got physical connection. So I've always called them aircraft plugs too. But
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know that there's someone on Facebook, I forget, they were selling like all these adapter sets. I can't remember the life of me. If I come across it, I'll throw it in the comments. But
so yeah, I mean the comm marker one. So if you wanted to make one of these, you could just buy a stepper motor cable off of Amazon and one of these 4-pin plugs. And the first, so a stepper motor has 2 phases in it, and pin 1 and 2 are the first phase, and pin 3 and 4 are the second phase. There's no rocket science there, and you can just solder it together.
Chris said Vembor wanted a pic of a video of missing parts I didn't get, so I sent him a picture of my empty hand.
Yeah.
Touché.
Now, I am actually a Vibor affiliate.
Me too.
I do a lot of, I've represented a lot of their products, and they make a wide range of things. I mean, it's just all over the map what they do.
Yeah, well, I don't think they actually make anything, but
they're rebranded.
They've been going hard to try and get me to do something with their stuff, and I finally said one day, okay, so my coin polisher I said, okay, send me one of those. You've got one. Oh, well, that's not part of our promotion program, so we don't. And I said, okay, you got one thing that's useful to me, and so forget it.
I've done a lot of stuff with their sublimation products, and their heat presses are actually a good product. Whether or not they actually make them, I don't know, but their heat presses are good.
Yeah, I should actually get one from them because, and when I say get, I mean buy, because the Pro Colored guys are finally actually sending me this new A13 printer that they have.
Nice.
So
yes, so they sent me those toolboxes that go on your beds that go over the wheel well for my Dodge Ram. So I have to unbox and do a review on those. And they also sent me a diesel heater for your garage.
Really?
Oh, is that one of them ones that starts a grass on fire?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't opened it yet, but
or the output of it asphyxiates you while you're standing beside your truck in the garage.
The problem with a lot of them little Chinese diesel heaters is you have to set them outside. Or exhaust them outside. But if you set them outside, because of the way the exhaust is, it'll start the grass on fire.
Multicrest says, what's the process of centering something round like a coaster or nano? I don't have one yet.
So you can frame, and you can. So the easiest way to do it, if it's a round coaster, create a big circle the size of your coaster, and just create a tool path for it in Lightburn, and just frame on the tool path, and then you can adjust the thing. You can do the same thing with a square, obviously.
So I would say that buy a slate coaster, even if it's off Amazon, and because as you're framing it or setting it up, you can sand it off, right? So as you're getting your everything aligned, what I did with mine is I just took their little clips and I pushed them where they need to be, and I'm only using that for coasters. So
this, you could also just put some blue tape on there and use low power.
Yeah.
And when you screw it up, the tape, you can just put some new tape on. It's cheaper than using a coaster.
Yeah, I just have a cheat that coaster that I use to set up on my artwork, and so that way I write it down in my notebook. I know my lat and longs where it's going to be, and or X and Y.
Yeah, I do this blue tape thing with just a piece of pipe for calibrating rotaries. Because rotaries are never calibrated exactly.
The way I set up on most of my laser engraves is I not only work from center, I use absolute coordinates, and I have a layout grid on every one of my lasers. So I can put the part in the center, and I know it's going to be there. I'll still frame it, of course, to make sure it's where it's supposed to be. But yeah, absolute coordinates or work from center.
Yeah, I use absolute coordinates on every single thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Happy
Well,
hump day,
I mean,
Nancy.
I don't
Happy
know
hump
why
day.
anyone would use absolute or relative coordinates anymore.
The
Because
Impeller said Nano Dual has a camera, but not sure if the Nano does.
Nano doesn't, Duo does. Let me make sure I just didn't lie to you. No, there's no camera on the Nano. On the regular
Christian
Nano.
Paul is a true artist. Good evening, everyone, gentlemen, in chat. Hello, hello. I don't think I recognize this.
This is a new name.
Yeah,
New
welcome.
name. Welcome to
Sean.
live. Yeah. My TS200 has an 8-pin wired for a D104 to do it. Hey, Paul, I know you're here in the live. We've asked one time before if you wanted to join, and then there was I ended up getting your email like 45 minutes after the live. If you have any interest in joining us today, let me know. I can definitely send you a link and get you in. I'd be honored to pick your brain on some of the stuff you do. We talk about you almost every week, so. Steve, you want to read this one?
I have no experience with electronics, so I'd have to be able to go buy one. This is the cable. So if it was like a ComMark, all the manufacturers have them. They don't like to sell them if you don't want to buy one of their rotaries, but like ComMarker has theirs, you can buy it. So check with Omtech. They probably have one. It might not be listed on their website, but.
Dennis said, "Hey guys, I'm here on Facebook now." Hey, Dennis.
It's another new name.
Yeah. He's been on our lives before in the past.
I think a couple times.
Yeah.
Sweet. Welcome back.
Clayton said, "Paint the canvas from light colors to darker." Yeah.
Yeah, this is easy to say.
Yeah, it's easy to say, but it's a lot harder to actually do it.
See,
Right.
if I was going to do one of these videos, I'd just pay Paul to come and do it, and I'd just record him.
See, Paul said, "Never mind the canvas. I need the tacos." We were actually talking before we went live that you had never eaten tacos before, and we were like, "That can't be true."
Yeah, and I actually have tacos tonight. My wife and I are members of the local Moose here. It's Wednesday night's taco night. That's where we were at tonight.
Yeah, I bought tacos yesterday, and I bought a ton to eat at lunch today and bring for some friends. But a friend of mine was in the hospital, and I called off today, so I ate them again. That's something I want to bring up. One of our lives, the whole reason we do these lives is entrepreneurs, right? And whether it be, we talk about apparel, we talk about lasers, we talk about CO2s, we talk about everything you can think of, even just marketing. But what you kind of see is a common theme when we're looking at these lives, whether it be a man or woman, we're around about the same age, right? We're close in the generation. So I would say, guilty as a Mexican, like we avoid hospitals with like a plague, right? People die there. But as we get in our age, it's like you're starting to see our friends die. You're starting to see our friends' parents die. So I'm owning up to it. I've been putting off to going to the doctor for a while just to get a checkup. And I'd say at our age, you should probably, if that legs bother you and that knees bother you, you're getting a pain in your chest, you should probably get checked out, because what's the point of us busting our butts trying to create a side hustle, provide for our families if we're not going to be here? Because they're not going to remember what you bought them. They don't remember the time you spent with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, I don't fear going to the doctor. One of the benefits of having subsidized medicine is it doesn't cost me anything. So if I don't go, it's just because I'm stupid.
I like this comment here. So we got a Vivor hot dog cooker at work. I'll tell you something that electricians do. I got to tell you what electricians do. You take a piece of Romex and you strip the two ends loose. You plug one end in and you stick each end of it in a hot dog, and it'll heat it up in about 15 seconds.
Nice one.
We used to do this kind of crap on the job back in the day. Now, of course, you didn't hear it from me because it's actually quite dangerous to do that. But
probably also drinking beer at the time. The union was a little less strict. I remember they say when we were going to journeyman school, if you show up to class and you smell like alcohol, you're automatically banned.
Jeez.
And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, well, because it used to be before class, you know, you got guys from the whole entire state meeting each other. Let's go meet at the bar. You know, they're there for 4 hours for class, and you got to go climb all messed up.
Oh, you're going back to my apprentice classes back there in the 70s. Yeah, we used to do that. Go to the bar first, and then go to class.
Yeah, and then go to the bar after class.
That's
They
Yeah,
go,
we
what's
do that
called-
too.
That's what's called the good old days.
yeah,
I couldn't do that crap now. That wouldn't work.
yeah.
Oh, so here the Vivor's linear actuators are slower than watching paint dry. Well, I haven't dealt with their linear actuators, so don't know about that one.
I cut a round of scrap. I don't know if that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, this is the coaster thing, I guess.
Oh,
the,
okay.
the reference to the coasters.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have a jig.
That's what I do too.
Yeah,
Anytime
we have
you cut a
jig.
lot of circles in a laser shop, right? So anytime I get a circle that's 2 or 3 inches or more, I just save it and I have a big pile of them.
So
If I want to do something round, I can just use
So
that.
I haven't done the review yet, but I'll share these really quick, and I'll drop a link later. There's David, I forget his last name on the top of my head. He makes all these jigs, but you can drop these in. This is for the Zippos, and this will actually fit right in the Nano. This will also fit in X Tool. You know, he makes the ones for the Apple Watches.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, all the different Apple Watches. He makes them for the coasters. He makes them for the dog tags. When I mean dog tags, not the military dog, literally for your dogs.
Yeah, the ones that are shaped kind of like a bone.
Right. And then this is just like, I guess, different circle stuff.
Good for calibrations.
And then this is the actual dog tags like you'd wear on your neck. You know, so, and he has every different kind of laser. I got to finish the review, and I apologize. He's been at me a couple of times like, hey, man, how come you haven't done the review yet? And then he also does this for your rotary. So this can go in the rotary, and you can put this for the cup. So you have every single size cup you can put in there. Now, keep in mind, these are like, again, we're talking about scrap wood and all that, but these are dirt cheap. You know, so someone did all the math for you. And then they also give you the file.
What's his name again?
David. Let me find his name.
It looks like Mike Manuel said, he just commented, says, I used one of his jigs for my hat clips. So maybe Mike, you know.
Let me find his name. But yeah, so I mean, super nice guy. He's got his website has just a ton of stuff on it.
Sweet.
I'll sun through my phone and get it before the end of the night. But yeah, I will finish up that review, and like I said, just the longer Nano, if you actually just pull that center out, so just put right down in there. And it turns out that base is not like a Nano thing. That's kind of like a standardized Chinese base. There's a name for it. I forget what it's called. They call it like the M7 or M6. There's like a number for it, like that
the
plate.
Nano and the Nano Duo, the workspaces are a different size.
No, that hole.
Yes.
Does that hole that comes out different size?
Yes.
Okay, because I know one of the X tools, and there's like 5 different lasers that holes the exact same size.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Laser Pecker 5 or 4, whatever it is, that one uses the same size as the Nano.
Right.
Yeah, the Nano, the base plate is square.
Right.
On the Duo, it's 160 by 140 millimeters.
Right,
so
but
it's
not
quite square.
But on the Dual, does it have a plate you can take out, like in the middle? Oh,
Yeah,
and that's a different shape too.
And it's not square. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Different size.
Right. So he'd have to make something new for that, and that's not out yet. But the cool part is, as these lasers come out, you know, he's making all these different attachments. Yeah, I'll find his message for the live ends. Rick, Steve, you want to take over the comments real quick, and I'll dig for that through my phone.
So Chris says the only problem he's ever had with Vivor was that was due to state elect. I don't know what that is. Changing the rules. So Vivor gave him a full refund and told him to use it for parts. I had when I did my coin engraving video, I showed some coins you don't want to buy. These ones on Amazon. And I had like 10 of them, and I complained to the guy and said, like, these are crap. They're not, like, brass should not stick to a magnet. And and he gave me a refund right away. I did point out that I was going to talk about this to my YouTube friends, and he gave me a refund right away and I said, well, how do I get these returned to you? He said, no, just keep them. So if someone lives close to me and wants a bunch of coins that are just complete garbage, I'm happy to give them to you. I did use so the guys that you mentioned, Rick.
Yeah.
I forget what they're Unlimited. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a whole bunch of coins from them.
Nice.
In the last little while.
Do you physically have them yet?
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Oh, they're nice.
Insane, right?
And I bought like, I don't know, 20 of 24 millimeter thick ones and 23 millimeter thick ones, and he threw a handful of other ones in that are things I didn't order. But yeah, good service, and definitely the coins are good.
I would say, and I would dare to say, like mint quality. Like, to me, that's
they're definitely nice.
Yeah.
Chris says I 3D print cylinders and tape them up for testing rotors. Yeah, I do the same kind of thing. I just piece of either that or piece of 2.5 inch or 2 1/4 inch ABS pipe with some tape on it.
Another thing that works real good is pop cans or beer cans.
Yeah.
Then just put blue tape on them and have at it, and then pull the blue tape off. And
blue tape. I go through a lot of blue tape. Nancy's here. How do I set up my PyBurn 5 lens digital on the Omni One? You'll need an Omni One cable. So talk to the Commarker guys. They do have them. They're in their store. I've seen them. If you can't make your own, and that's understandable because it requires some soldering knowledge. But yeah, you can get the cable from them.
Oh, I think I almost had a fire here.
Oh boy!
I have that one of those ring lights, the circle ones, and it doesn't come with a brick, of course. So I used a Samsung plug.
Oh, those things, yeah.
But it's a high output, so it makes it a little brighter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, a little.
made it real bright until it didn't.
Yeah. So
how are you liking the Omni One, Nancy? Commercial during the live. Somebody sent me a message today, and they were watching my channel and said it was weird watching my channel and having a commercial with me in it pop up. And it's like, well, what commercial was it? I'd like to know.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
It certainly wasn't a commercial for my channel.
I thought that was cool, and I saw myself on Momport's Facebook and Momport's YouTube. I thought that was cool.
Oh, there we go, Nancy. Black beans and rice Cuban style. I had that down in Miami with absolutely fantastic panini. Yeah, I'll never forget that. That was great.
Beans and rice is one of my favorites.
Sounds good to me. Let's go.
LTX design. 2A 3D. 2A 3D laser. 3D laser has a really good video. Oh, 2A 3D laser, I guess, is a YouTube channel. Has a really good video on calculating the steps of the PyBurn on this channel, on his channel. Yeah, so I've been talking to one of the guys on my channel, and he might be actually on here, to calibrate the steps per revolution of your rotary, because they're all a bit different. And the easiest way is to just draw a circle on something and then measure it, and then you can do a calculation of what the circle was supposed to be versus what it is, and do a simple cross multiply and with the number of steps, and figure out what the new calculation for the step should be.
You just got way geeky into that one.
Yeah, I was like,
super nerd.
Over my head.
Hey, so what did you guys think of that light bulb I posted?
That's quite the light bulb. It's like, what, 8 million lumens or something?
Hey, did you get your flux capacitor yet?
It kind of looked like one, actually.
I said to Roger, I'm gonna need your help installing this. It was like,
Air Republic Woodworking. Is that another new name?
Yeah, I don't. That's a new name to me.
What are your thoughts between VCarve Pro and Carbide? I assume is a slur.
Yeah.
Carbide Create, deciding on which Kool-Aid to drink. I don't know where Andy is. I'm all over VCarve, but
Yeah. I've got experience with both of these. It really comes down to budget. Like, and if I'm assuming if you know about Carbide Create, then you probably have a Shapeoko. So, it comes with your machine. It's fine. I used it for the first 2 to 3 years that I got started in CNC. Then I switched over to Vectric. Vectric is, I always say when it comes to software, I don't care where you start. All roads lead to Vectric.
yes.
Um,
So I had an annual subscription to Carvera.
Oh,
when I bought my my Onefinity Elite, and I didn't want it because I was already on VCarve, so I gave it to a buddy of mine, and he gave it full force. He learned how to use it, but now he's on Vectric. And he said one thing I appreciated was the time to try and scale something in Carvera versus VCarve. He said it was just like night and day. Something that took hours versus took seconds.
Yeah, Vectric is a great company. Now I am partnered with them, but I used their product before I was partnered with them, and they're just like I've gotten to know the people, and they're one of those companies that you love to work with. They're a company of 30 people that are just trying to make that piece of software as good as it can be, right? And they're new. They release like a half of version a year. Yeah. They'll usually do like a 12.5. So they do like 11, 11.5, 12. So they're coming out with a new version. What? Their cycle is every 2 years, I think.
Seems like it, yeah.
So it is the top of the top. So if budget, it's worth the money. But if you don't have it, just keep it in your mind. And so a lot of people ask me too, like, well, I don't want to learn. I just want to learn one software. And I went through that. I learned Carbide Create. And other than buttons being in a different location, it wasn't like I had to completely relearn software. They're pretty simple. Carbide Create is a watered down version, but it wasn't like I had to learn a completely new software when I went to Vectric. So
yeah, not like Carveco versus Vectric.
Yeah.
Where are we here? The Impaler.
Go to the doctor.
Dude,
that's what he's saying.
Any question? Yeah, go get checked. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so MS Manuel uses one of those jigs that you showed Rick for his hat clips. So he's got two cool things. He's got the cool jig and the cool hat clips.
So I if you share in the comments below, I did actually post a link to his Facebook page as well as his website, and he actually said that he'd be willing to join the live right now and show us some of his jigs.
Cool.
So, and the cool thing is that he'll make them for anything. So, yeah.
Really nice website, by the way. I'm on it right now.
Oh, yeah, I like this comment here. Works for Pike Electric. Rick and I are both in the electrical field. So we know about, 7,200 volts on primary power lines. Put that on a hot dog, it'll blow it up. Yeah, instantly.
I guess you have to appreciate hot dogs to start with. But the one thing I like is the hot dog toaster. Have you seen those things? It's like a toaster, but you put wieners in it instead. I would have one of those in my kitchen.
And of course, like SawStop likes to use hot dogs to demonstrate their
machines. Well, they used to use. So I talked to one of the SawStop guys, and he said they used to use their finger.
Yeah.
And I guess insurance companies probably told them to stop.
Yeah, I saw that too. It says we're not allowed to do that anymore, so have to use hot dogs. And I do have a SawStop now, and I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, I'm really thinking I should get one, but
You should. It's honestly, it's one of those things. I can say from experience because I put it off, and then I had a saw accident, and I'm like, it would have been really a lot more economical to buy. And
Yes.
You're in Canada, you probably wouldn't have to pay to put your fingers back
Well,
on.
I still wouldn't want my finger chopped off or anything. So
It's cheaper to buy a new finger.
the money is not the incentive there.
But yes, you are right. You are right.
So if anybody's wondering what a SawStop costs, and I bought the 36-inch version with the router table and the router lift and everything on it, was $6,200, and I didn't bat an eye on it.
Okay, Roger. So
well worth it.
the saw that it replaced, was it the same size?
Yes.
Okay. How much did the old saw cost you?
In 1976, when I bought it, it was probably about $400.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So Roger did go. Roger did go pretty big. I got the 1.75 horse. I got the smaller one. It's the professional, but it's the smaller one.
Yeah, I do the 3 horse because of what we do here.
So yours is 110 then, Andy? Not
yes.
220? Yeah.
And it was about 20. It's about $3,000.
I got a DeWalt work construction table.
Yeah, I have a DeWalt saw now, but I don't know. I want something a bit bigger and
see my fingers?
Yeah.
Well, I also have a DeWalt saw, and it's great for being portable. I mean, I do projects up the campground or for one of the grandkids or whatever. I can wheel it, just throw it in the back of the truck, take it over there or whatever. But for when we get into production here, especially in the late summer when we're building candy boards, I need a heavy duty ass-kicking table saw.
Hey, how's it going, brother?
Hey guys, how you all doing?
Hello.
Sorry for the last minute. Hey, you want to jump in the live? But we've been talking about you, and I kind of said, hey, you know what? I didn't do your review yet. I've been meaning to. It's just been crazy. But I kind of showed it and said, you know what? Let me just see if I can get you on here and kind of show some of your products because I think they're phenomenal, and I think more people need to know about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I actually watch all of you all the time.
Sweet.
Okay. Do you want to kind of give a background on your company? What type of jigs you make, for what lasers, and what type of item?
Yeah, absolutely. So the company name is Alive Pixel Create. It's AlivePixelCreate.com. I'm actually a 20 years designer, and I work on product design, animation, 3D design. I work with studios doing animation from commercials, some movie props and stuff like that. And I got into the design business with the jigs specifically because I decided to help people from my agency. I have a small marketing agency for small businesses or startups. So we started making some stuff for events. And it was like the t-shirt stuff for like low batch because they don't want to spend for hundreds of t-shirts and get the cost low. So we start doing that, and one day one of my clients was like, I need coasters. I want to put coasters on my event and some tumblers. So this is a couple of years ago when you get a 5 to 10 watt laser tops on a diode, right? Unless you have a couple of $1,000s saving there for a big CO2. And when I say big CO2 was, I think, 45 watts, the biggest you can get at that time. And we decided to we bought an X-Tool D1. And that's where kind of my nightmare started because I was like, okay, how I can center, how I can do this. And there was nothing. Like, they don't even have at that time a honeycomb yet released for their first machine. So the first thing that we built actually was a honeycomb. And since I was working with a 12x12, I get a hold on a manufacturer in Europe, and I got the honeycomb sheets pre-cut on the size that I wanted. And then I contact a framing company, and they make the frames like a picture frames on aluminum to put my honeycomb sheet inside. and grab all the stuff. And we didn't put rivets. We used silicone to seal the whole thing around it. It was like a blob just attached, but it works. So we start selling honeycombs on Etsy. And from there, I need jigs, and I start doing this jig. So from the regular coaster to knife and different other stuff, and like jigs like this one that has the shape of the knife. And we start doing more and more and more. Then I have access to equipment because my agency to 3D scanners. So I started doing my jigs a little bit more complex with 3D scanning, and I start growing from there. Basically, you can use our jigs on any machine because every machine nowadays you have a zero, right? So you can just put the machine on zero, put a jig on the corner and zero, and some of them has even registration marks, so you can use the tools that some laser people provide. Like the next tool, they have a camera and the 2 points alignments and stuff like that. You can use that, but we provide the SVG files as well. And with the SVG, is super simple. You put it on zero in your software, put the jig in the same place on the bed, and basically you're good to go.
Nice. It's cool too to see that you're actually using a 3D scanner, because I see a lot of people, they'll go on Amazon or something and they'll take these lasers and they're literally tracing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not saying that it couldn't be close, but using a 3D scanner versus using a picture, they could definitely be, a little off, right?
Yeah.
That 3D scanner is definitely going to be a lot better.
Yeah, and it's a really challenge really with the scanner because some materials are really thin. So when the material is less than half a millimeter, the main problem that I have with that is that the scanner doesn't give me a real reading of the depth. So it gave me the silhouette, basically just a caliper, read the thickness to make the extrusion or stuff like that. So it doesn't get into the impossible part, but the 3D scanner helps a lot with knives, especially with the shapes and all that. It's easier to adjust. Other things that we use, photos. I have a lens correction already done on my Photoshop, and all Adobe Photoshop that I do the lens correction. But I process the photo on the camera, and I can have the lens correction. So once I have the 3D scanning, I do a technique that is called 3D mapping. So I can have the extra sections to do the lining on everything, and I can do the projection map, and I know that what I'm scanning, it will fit on the jig, and that saves a lot of time.
If you don't mind me asking, what nationality are you?
I grew up in Peru.
Okay. I'm asking because we have a multi-international following.
Oh yeah.
Based on your accent, I assume there's another language you speak. So if someone has a language barrier, that maybe they could speak to you in their native language.
Right. So I actually have a lot of customers from Europe, because a lot of people don't know this, but there is actually a huge language barrier between Castellano from Spain and Spanish in South America. It's a huge gap. I grew up with Castellano. That's what I speak. And I have a little bit of a gap sometimes, depending what I'm talking to or what is the main subject, with people from Ecuador or people from Mexico, people from Puerto Rico. It's a little bit different. We can communicate, but we use different words for different things.
Yeah.
That's like interesting because the people I've had to work with in the past, back when I was still employed, I worked with people in Colombia, and then I did work with a few people in Peru, and I worked with quite a few people in Mexico. But of course, when they wanted to send me to Brazil, they said, "Well, Portuguese is just like Spanish." I go, "No, it isn't."
Yeah.
So when you speak Spanish, you can speak Portuguese. No, I can't.
Yeah, it's a lot different actually. I live in Brazil for a little bit. I've been in a lot of places. One of the things that I do with my agency was photography, so they send me everywhere, and I start traveling a lot for a lot of years. But like everyone else, I got tired of the traveling though.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's been watching our lives for a while, we all know that Steve loves to make coasters.
I made two the other day.
So one of the things that we talk about all the time is that what are items that you can make that are going to allow you to be able to pay off your item within 90 days, right? I mean, that's the goal. There's going to be some high ticket items you purchase that's just not a reality. but most people jumping into the industry, you know, they're kind of on borrowed time, so to speak, right? They've saved up for that money, but they need the return on investment. It isn't something that, you know, years out. So by having those jigs, to me, for one, it gives you a head start in being able to dial in the machine a lot faster, especially being a noob, right? And the other thing is that batches, right? So if you were to take all that time to do one wristband, like I know Steve has done the Apple Watch bands. If you took all
Yeah,
that time to do one, how much time
this
would
one
it have
is
you taken? Yeah, how much time you have taken to get that dialed in? I'm not saying Steve couldn't do it, but it took him some time. Now,
it
if
is.
somebody went up to Roger and said, "Hey, can I do 10?" He might tell him, "Kicks rocks. It's not worth my time." But if he had your jig and all you had to do was set it in, open up your template, and go boom, that's a whole different story. So the idea
Yeah,
is be able to make batches and be able to
Yeah.
still make a profit because time is money,
and,
right?
you know, when the F1 from Exo, the original, the OG F1, like people is calling on the groups, when the OG F1 appears, I decided to make the first jig that actually was on the market like the next day that they announced it. It was a pen and pencil. And this has been like the non-stop selling jig. I mean, everyone wants to make pen and pencils. But then we evolved to different other machines. I have the guys see here. In the role, you have a jig table. And the beauty on that is I have customers that jump from the regular D1 to the F1, and then they jump into a big CO2. They have like Antec on the back, or they have a lot of people jump into the Tundra in that time. And one of the things that they always asked me was how we can make your jig work for my Tundra. So that's what I start with a jig file. So they have the jig to align it as well. But I have experience with a couple customers something really cool. And they contact me and they want 20 of the same jig. I want 20. Now, oh, okay, I can print a 20 for you and we will send you 20. I mean, and I usually for book orders of the same, we do a nice discount. We shave 25-30% of the cost. And I found that what they do is they just stack them. Since everything is in the same size, they just stack them on their laser beds. And they stack not just one jig. They stack, for example, the pen and pencil. Then they put the coasters. Then they put the wallets, and they put different parts. And they grab the file and they just put it on the software, and they just stack and repeat the jig in the same way. And they have the whole bed of a CO2 laser, a huge Mira 9, right? Covered in different jigs, and they just change the ones that they need for that session because it's a common product that they reproduce. So I found that the size work, and that's why we stick to the size. And we have a couple of bigger ones if they want. On the F1 Ultra, you buy 4 of these, and you just fill the whole bed because this is a 109 by 109. So you fit 4 inside the Ultra. So that's one of the reasons why we didn't found the need to jump into making a whole jig for the Ultra, because it gave people more flexibility really into putting one jig or another different on the side, and you can have 2 different things running with the templates. We do print all our jigs on Ultra size for anyone that wants it. So you want whatever jig that we have on the website for your Ultra, we have the ability to print on the Ultra with the whole screws, so it will work too. But a lot of people just go for the small square, and they can use it anywhere from fiber lasers to Exo.
Where are you located, and what's the typical ship time if someone wants to actually order some products from you?
The majority of the jigs we have a pretty convenient stock on our jigs normally. I'm gonna say that between 2 to 3 days the jigs are out of the door.
Nice.
That's on average. We do announce always 4 to 7 business days to ship and processing, because sometimes depending what promotions and time of the year, it's kind of a cycle. We get slammed with orders, so we need to kind of prepare for that sometimes. And by the way, it might take up to 7 days to ship, but the normal shipping time is 2 to 3 days.
So I know people already, when I mentioned your website and I shared it, they're already jumping on. But just some of the things you had sent me, like the dog tags, a circular one, so you can use it for a lot of
that one is only on 0.5 inch increments, so you can put basically anything.
cup holders, right?
Yeah, so that one is a 4-in-1. So that holds a cup holder, a business card, a round, and a square coaster.
The Apple
Yeah,
Watch.
the Apple Watch.
Looks like a different size Apple Watch.
Yep, you have for the 2 sizes.
Yep. And then my favorite.
Oh, that's a Sipo.
Yes.
We actually are the only ones that thought to make the Sipo to hold the front, the back, the left, the right, the top, and the bottom. So you can actually put a Sipo in all faces, all 6 faces to engrave it.
So for my IBW brothers, I will be making these. I've already been working on it. IBW Zippos, which is going to look pretty badass.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then this guy.
That was something that one morning I woke up with. I want to do my wristband, the elastic wristbands, but I want to do it like all around, not just text. I just want to do design or something like that. So that one is to hold it on the rotary.
I would also thought that it could be used for cups.
If you find a cup that will fit.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
So
we have a couple of adapters for different cups, and we have our biggest seller of all time. Let me grab it.
Yeah,
Andy, I know you were looking at his website. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's great. I think I can tell like his background in design. Like it's very clean, but a lot of options too. I also checked out his Etsy page. I was kind of creeping a little bit, so.
Oh yeah, we have an Etsy page. We don't do much on Etsy because I hate fees. we actually don't charge a lot for our staff, and the fees kill anyone, So
it looks like you've had some good success on Etsy though. What I see,
yeah, we sold a lot. There's still people. We keep the store. We still sell there. A lot of people prefer to buy on Etsy, honestly, because they don't feel comfortable spending money on a website that they don't know the person. But most of our users are like one time on Etsy and the next time on the website.
Yeah, it's a great way to do it. Yeah, great way to do it.
It's how it goes. So that's why we keep Etsy kind of feeding some products and stuff. This guys is our best product ever. Stainless steel with a high density silicone, just like the Pie Burn. You guys know the Pie Burn, I'm sure. And we have the aluminum extenders for the chalk on X-Tool. And also fits pretty much any other small chalk on the market. The house goes from M3 to M4 and 5. So these guys extend the arms on the chalk on the rotary and X-Tool. And these guys finally gave you that grip that you wanted, right? Because let's be honest, that little chalk grip doesn't hold much.
All right.
Yeah, those teeth they put on the chucks to hold tumblers are just ridiculously bad.
Yeah, so I did the whole kit, and there's like a low profile ones that you hold smaller items to. We sell about, I'm gonna say about 200 to 300 of these kits every 2 months.
Wow.
And it's
pretty much everyone who has a rotary.
Pretty much. Whatever rotary you have that is from X-Tool to Ortour, now the cone marker too, will use this, and it holds anything.
So what about if there's something that somebody wants created and you don't offer it? Is it worth investing in your time in creating jigs, adding jigs if you see the demand for it?
So actually, I have a program for people because I get that a lot. So I have a program that goes in 2 different ways. Let's say that you have this pair of pliers, and it's an item that I see people randomly engraving here and there, and it's something that it might benefit others. If the item is something that I can get on Amazon or any other seller that sells blanks, is available for everyone, you send me one blank. You sacrifice a blank. That blank is mine now. I'll do the jig, and I send you the jig free.
Nice.
If it's something that is only for your business and no one else can access it because you have a pre-cut shape or whatever, I charge you $25 for the jig. If it's a simple jig that is mostly a silhouette and some basic shapes, $25, and I print the jig and send it over to you. And if something way more complex, like for example, you need a specific knife that you forge, because there's people that like to forge their knives now.
Yep.
So you forge your own knife, and you need a jig for your own knife. That can be $100 jig, and just go your way, and that doesn't appear on my store. That's your jig.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. That's awesome. I like that.
It's a good way to do it.
We align with a couple of businesses. We have one of our biggest alliances being or partnerships is with Monarch Pine. Katie, she does a lot of jewelry blanks on Etsy, and we grew that from 2 gigs to test how it goes, and we have I'm gonna say about 50 gigs with her.
Oh,
40 gigs
wow.
already with her. So you can go to the website. I don't think I have a gig from her. Oh, I have a sample there. I'm finishing this week. These are the new gigs that are coming this week.
Nice.
Nice.
So, and as you can see, they are really detailed on the shape to keep it there. They don't move around.
Right, and I want to make sure that we're hitting this home. If anything you take away from the video, us inviting him, the biggest difference that I see from him and anyone else that sells these type of jigs is the file he's providing with you. It doesn't do you a whole lot of justice to have this without the file to be able to align it with it.
Yep.
So, you go buy this for $5, it's kind of like, well, thanks, but that's only half of the work done for you.
Right.
The file's there, and you can kind of already line it all up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
To be able to batch something out, to do something.
That's true. So this jig, for example, the file that you're going to get has the shape of the shoe, for example, the dog or the ballerina. That's the file template you get, so you know exactly where you're setting. And we have on oral jigs pages, there is how to use our jigs. There's a video, because something that I discovered, X2 teach me this, because X2 was great to teach this kind of lessons to users. X will teach me that there is no way you get the same laser that I bought and it's the same alignment for whatever reason. I don't know how that works, but the F1, the center is not the center in every machine. And same happen on the Ultra. The center can be shift to the right, shift to the left. So there's no way to have your center workflow on the computer, and it's going to apply for all the machines. So we create a video and a tutorial of how to use the jig and how to move the shapes using the preview mode on the fiber lasers, or in this case X2, to get the best alignment of your jig. In that way, you align it the first time, save the file, and there you go. You can just go put the text and send it as many times as you need.
Nice. Yeah, so guys, I know we were talking about the live. So if anyone has any questions while we have here on the live, ask away. I think this was definitely a knowledge worth sharing for sure.
So do you 3D print all of your jigs?
Yes, all the jigs are 3D print. We're using PETG and all the jigs. But one of the things that a lot of people ask is, can you print it in ABS? The reality is, it doesn't matter if I print on ABS or PET. If you run the laser over, you're going to melt it. It might resist 5 more seconds of the pass, or 1 more second of the pass, but it's going to be the same result from PLA all the way to PET, ABS. Maybe the only one that it will resist a little bit higher temperature will be in nylon, but at the same time, that will increase the cost of the jig for people. We have jigs in $13, really. They're super inexpensive, considering that we provide the files as well. And if something happened to your jig, we usually have you covered. I have people that run the laser and melt it because they forgot that it was plastic. And they use it for months, and all of a sudden, 4 months later, I forgot it was plastic, and I put an image all the way out, and I just melt the whole thing because they forgot. Really, what they do is they just contact me and say, hey, send me the pictures, and we will send you a new jig. You just pay the shipping.
That's crazy.
That's great.
That's great.
So what brand, if you don't mind me asking, what brand 3D printers do you use?
I use all bamboos.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've got bamboo running right behind me here. So
Yeah, I have the mini. He's sitting there. That's the one that I use for prototyping, and then the rest are back in the shop. Um, I did a video with Creality. I don't know if anyone saw it, but I grab my Creality, take it to the dumpster, and throw it over the dumpster and press the button so I can crash it. I got too frustrated with that printer. That was
Roger
the
will love
K1.
that video.
you don't want to get me started with reality.
Are you
Right?
are you a Creality affiliate now?
No.
Roger would just say, if you say anything bad about Creality, they will never allow you to be the affiliate.
So
I,
I have a love-hate relationship, big relationship with Creality, honestly, because I mean, this is one of the scanners that I used for a while,
Yeah.
but I have another scanner here that from the Parrots that I use, and I have another one in my shop. Um, the Creality works fine for bigger elements, but in the moment you get something in that 3 millimeters sizing, the Creality don't even see it. It's funny. I have a love-hate relationship with the brand.
So, besides the items that I had shown, are there any other items? I know at the time those were kind of your hot sellers. That was wild. You send me. Are there any other items that maybe someone should check out that you have available?
I mean, the rotary chocks are a big seller, definitely, because we also have the same arms, but we call it extended jaws, and they open up all the way to 9 inches, so you can actually grab with a tiny little rotary whole dog bowl, which is great.
Nice.
So that's one of the best sellers we have because people don't need to convert to $1,000 rotary. Um, we have that. The jigs are big sellers. We have a lot of mods that we did for X2 D1 because that was my main laser. And I don't know, you guys know, I'm sure you know Kobe Smith. He has a bunch of different controllers and stuff that he put on the D1 and transformed the D1 with limit switches, even if he didn't have any. So he used a 32 bits boards to create that. And I came out with an autofocus. So my D1 for before I sold it, I had a drag chain. I have a D1 with limit switches everywhere, and I have the D1 with an autofocus. So that was something that right now you can only see it on the S1, really, and I did it all in a D1. We have the D1 lenses, the original OEM lenses. We got a hold of the manufacturer in China, and we buy the lenses by 1,000, and we sold about 1,000 lenses every month and a half
Wow.
of the D1, and we are cheaper than X2 on lenses because really the cost justified to lower the price to be more accessible. The other thing that we have is on the fiber laser, we have adapter for pretty much any laser. So you have a good marker. I have an adapter, so you can put these jigs always in the same place. You have a Houghton laser or any other fiber laser where it's a 25 millimeters whole distance. We have an adapter that goes to that too, and you put it there all the time. We have adapters for many things, really. So basically, our jigs will fit virtually anything. And on the part of materials, we have acrylic that we sourced a while ago from China, and I only sell the black acrylic for diodes. But it's great acrylic, cuts like butter, and you know that you're getting a laser acrylic. Really, no, you go to Amazon and you get whatever sometimes. And we have a bunch of material from Lancaster Supply, directly linked with our jigs. Blake with Great Lake Laser Supply as well.
Yep.
I've been doing his jigs as well. So we have the hot clip jigs, the golf clip jig as well. And some of them, actually all of them, we have discounts on the website for people to go and buy with them so they can save some money.
We had him on our live maybe a month or so ago.
Yep.
Yeah, with the hat clips. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are great. I have some of, I think I have some still here. These are a couple other jigs that they just went out because now, for whatever reason, the money clips are getting back to life.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. I just discovered this a couple weeks ago Monarch Pine say like money clips are being a big seller. I need a jig for it, so they sent me one to make their jigs.
Nice.
So
Problem is, you need something to put in it.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. For Valentine's, this lady, I put it on the website. I didn't thought I will sell any. I saw a couple, the coasters, Slate on Heart. I first of all, I didn't know that they exist. Really. So
Perfect for your OnlyFans, Steve.
yeah.
I'm all over those.
Okay.
Finally, a toaster I can deal with.
Yeah, coasters could be a big thing for certain people.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't know coaster was such a big thing though. But we have some slate coasters that we saw as well that we source. They're really decent. Hose adapters we sell all the time too. I mean, I did adapter with a thread from the plastic hose on X2, so you can adapt pretty much any hose to that because everyone hates that plastic hose. But hey, it works, I guess.
No, I appreciate your time, and I apologize for giving such a last minute, and I promise I'm on these videos now. You'll see a video coming out soon with him using all these jigs. But since it brought up, I thought it was at least worth reaching out to you and see if you had some time to jump on.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much for the invite. Um, I see the question from Grace Gallagher. Yes, the D1 original was discontinued about year and a half ago. Then they did a D1 Pro during that time. They discontinued the D1 Pro really almost 8 months ago, and the D1 Pro 2.0 is the one that was discontinued recently. That has the emergency button with the update with the 40 watt and stuff like that. We did the original C-axis for the D1. We still sell quite a bit of those actually, which is amazing. Especially with they are metal. All the movie parts and everything they're made of metal, so it will last you as long as your laser lasts. But yeah, no, absolutely. Look at that guy.
I'm 5 years old.
Wow.
He turned 5. He's letting
Yeah,
everyone know.
on the
Well-
D1, we still are selling a lot of the mounts and risers for the D1. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's going to taper off here shortly, but that's one of the things we 3D print.
Yeah, yeah. We have the honeycomb alignment to set your honeycomb in place as well. We still have that going out strong. And I just got 2 orders last week for the autofocus, which is great too.
That was a Coaster King. There you go.
Right?
So I had jokingly one day called Steve the Silver Fox, and it's stuck. And what I like,
that's the only fans because I only see your YouTube channel.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
so-
good.
so
That's the only one I want people to watch.
we have certain inside jokes, and I love it when someone comments because I know they only know those particular things, as if they truly watch our lives. If somebody brings up Andy's $99 laser, if someone calls Steve the Silver Fox or brings up OnlyFans,
Or the
right?
Coaster King, apparently.
or jokingly the Coaster King, because we all know Roger's the Coaster King, right? But we poke the bear with Steve, call him the Coaster King. I know that those are kind of the. I guess I've been the guy making fun of everyone, poking the beehive, so to speak. But I'm sometimes a wise ass. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I had a little fun this last week, and those of you that are on my Facebook page saw the picture of me back in 1974 with my arm around this blonde sitting in the cafeteria.
I saw it. Yeah,
Boy, did I have hair!
a lot of it. Where did it all go? Do you have like
Yeah,
a
what's
big
it?
bag full of high school hair?
Roger, I want to see a video of your DJ days. That's what I want to see.
Well, I don't know. There's no video of it, but there's a lot of picture of my DJ days.
But I can't hear pictures.
I'll have to dig some of them up.
Clark's asking, will you be in Atlanta next week, Daniel?
So I've been thinking on it. Last year was great. I've been kind of hesitating on it because we started a huge project actually. We just got a 1,600 square foot storefront.
Nice.
And what I'm doing there is we are taking all the equipment that I have and we're doing some sort of maker space. so people can come over and learn about lasering, learn about the machines, and we're gonna have a storefront where we can also going to be able to put people's work with no commission on the store, so they can sell and make some money. Paul.
If you recognize the black couch,
Right?
we know you've been watching, and it wasn't YouTube. It was you.
There it is. But yeah, so we're in that kind of a big project right now, and we're trying to save a little bit of money. The event on Atlanta is the Workbench Con. So it's a really fun event. But honestly, that last year, as good as it was to connect with people on the woodworking, they have really little of laser. They have a couple classes great for resin and stuff like that. They can be used in different ways with the laser world. But the only woodworking that I do is when I wipe my butcher's plug after cutting meat. So that's all the woodworking I do. Yeah. Nice. Put a little extra oil so my butcher plug doesn't crack.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that's interesting why Workbench Con doesn't have many laser.
They should have more. I don't know what's gonna be this year exactly. I was looking into, and a lot of the same vendors of last year. But
yeah,
I just love connecting with people. That was the main reason I went last year. I will definitely go next year. This year, with this store that we're trying to open, an education center, like as we call it, it's a little hard for us to put $700 between hotel and everything to be there.
I get it. Workbench Con is not cheap.
No.
Yeah, Daniel, we got another question for you. So Daniel had a lot of fun in school and beyond with the 3D Max and ZBrush. What do you use for your 3D and animation work?
So there is two parts of that question for me. I started with 3ds Max in 1995. Okay, so my 3D skills went from DOS, basically writing what I want to create. That's how I started. And that was 3D Studio, not even Max, 3D Studio at that time. And then jump into 3D Max. Then from there, I jumped into Maya. So I did play with ZBrush, but I'm not really much into painting my 3D work. I consider that a little bit more of a pain process for me, even though I like poly NURBS and modeling on stretching the polygons and changing the polygons. So I do that on all the animation parts. So 3D Studio was my beginning. 3D Max was where I was teaching, and Maya that I teach as well. From there, on the production side, I started using SolidWorks because that was the industry standard 10 years ago. A little more than 10 years ago.
I'll show you later.
And now I'm using a software called Shaper 3D, and I also use Fusion for all my 3D basically. And no, 3D Max and Maya are completely different things. They are oriented to a different group of people. 3D Max is more architectural and more visualization, works great for a bunch of stuff. Maya is amazing to create scripts and go directly with animation and characters.
So he's asking now, so you like Maya better than 3D Max?
Tomato. That's the best answer I can give you, because if I want to work on a script to animate and use bones and everything on my characters, and I want to have the flexibility to move the face and create my controllers, Maya is going to be easier and faster and more dynamic on the workflow than 3ds Max. 3ds Max is going to be, in my opinion, better and more suitable for me if I'm going to do environments to have the characters, illumination, and stuff like that. Both work basically, works are Autodesk and company, work with almost the same plugins and scripts that you can use. It just matters what is more comfortable. And both cost $3,800 a year license. So
yeah, that's not cheap.
No.
Yeah. And it's good that you mentioned things like that, because a lot of times people will say, we're talking about selling stuff and making stuff, people start looking at, well, what is a spool of this cost? And they're like, well, how do you charge that? Well, it's like, well, wait a minute, hold on a second. So the machine costs $5,000. You just said it costs $3,800 a year for software. So you have to cover your overhead costs. So
Yeah.
as affordable as these are, I think they're actually really cheap, to be honest, when you kind of think of all the legwork and all the amount of work that you've done and what your overhead is to make it and to maintain the software license to be able to continue to develop new items.
That's what I was
because that's absolutely right. If you put it in perspective, you say, okay, I'm selling a jig in $13, right? But I use two softwares, and both that I'm going to use for this are going to be around $5,000 at the end of the year just to keep the license going. And from that point, then I use Illustrator. I'm a certified Adobe Illustrator. And that's what I like to use. And a lot of people say, like, well, go ahead and do it on Inkscape. It's free. Yeah, but I mean, after you use Illustrator for 20 years, going with Inkscape is not easy. Yeah. It's more of frustration. Yeah. And you have then a license that you pay $60 because I have the whole suite and all that. So all these kind of things can affect your cost at the end of the day. Then you have the printer. The spool is not super expensive. A spool right now is about $14 to $18 of filament, depending the brand. You can go super cheap and buy a $10 filament that it will dry and crack if you don't use it right away. So it will depend how you go with all these things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's cool.
Yeah, Blender is great. He's Radu is mentioning Blender. Blender is a great tool. I use Blender a lot for
Stop me.
I don't use it for that exactly, but I use it for global illumination because the engine the engine is very good.
See what I teach him, because he does reviews with me. He goes and gets the mic, syncs it, puts it on his thing, and just starts talking. Just kidding.
Well, I use Blender quite a bit. In fact, this little thing that just came off the printer was designed in Blender. So this is a mount for a laser, longer B1 laser, but yeah, Blender it's not a bad software, and it's free.
No.
Yeah,
it's just the learning curve on Blender. It's
a little more than Tinkercad.
Yeah,
a lot more than
Tinkercad. Blender is very similar to Maya.
Blender is less of a learning curve than Fusion is.
So you have our audience's attention. I know we kind of picked your brain or anything, but is there anything now that you do? Is there anything you kind of want to showcase or anything you want to speak on or talk about?
Look,
or anything that's coming that you don't have available yet, kind of maybe you could share with us?
So a couple of things that I don't have available yet. I've been working on a project, and I don't think I have it here. But
you act like you only had 2 minutes to jump on the live.
Pretty much. So there's a couple of things that we're working on, especially, and this was a request for a couple of users as well, because cutting leather on the CO2, cutting leather on the diode, so on and so forth with a honeycomb bed is a pain in the back. Like literally is obnoxious, because not just with the air assist can move a little bit and you are off place, is the stretching the leather and making sure it's nice and tied down is a little bit of a pain. And I know a lot of people, just like me, we use the heavy weights, aluminum on the corners, and pull it and put it there on the top, and use magnets and everything. So I don't have it here. I have it somewhere on the living room. I was working on that today. We create a flexible ruler that opens 90 degrees and opens 180 degrees, and all the bottom is basically magnets. So you can grab a whole sheet of 12 by 16 or whatever on leather, just open these rulers and clamp it with the magnets in every corner that you need to stretch it. You can make a triangle, a semicircle, whatever you need. So it will help to do those difficult materials, cardboard, leather, paper, and things like that. Nice. Magnets are nice and strong, but if you have a really warped piece of plywood, it won't hold. So this is designed for leather mainly. This is the one that we are putting out on the website at the end of this week. I've been testing it for about 2 weeks. We don't sell anything that we don't use. That's one of the rules that I have. If I'm not using it for anything, I'm not selling it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Definitely.
Biggest thing with leather though is dealing with the smell.
Yeah, I mean, for that, I think you can contact someone else to cut it for you. There's no much you can do. I mean,
need a good exhaust fan for leather.
Yeah. So I use, I don't know, it's down here in the corner. I use Micra. This is the Micro from Filter Box. I've been using that filter inside the house. I don't know if you ever use Filter Box, but I use almost every filtration system. I have the new I have the new AP2, the air purifier 2 from X2. I'm sorry, it doesn't purify anything. Didn't work for me. If you are not using your laser completely enclosed, and it's just that infrastructure for X2, if you want to use it for any other laser, it might not work. The volume of how much it takes is made for their machines. They didn't thought about using that in any other machine, and it didn't work for me. That's the reality. It's nice, pretty, and I don't know why I need 6 filters, but it doesn't work for me. Filter box here. I have the windows closed. Everything is carpet. It's not a cheap filter. I mean, the tiny one is $2,000. It's an expensive filter, but I can be sitting here. I'm gonna turn it on so you can hear how loud it is.
He just lost his X2 affiliate, by the way.
I am. I have my affiliate, but
I'm joking.
all right. So there is filter. There's the light going, and there is.
All right.
There is on. It's running.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can hear it.
Yeah, I hear it now.
So right now it's running. It's working there, and it's really not that loud. It's super quiet as well.
Yeah.
So you can work, you can do your stuff inside an office.
What's the name of that one?
That's Filter Box.
Filter box. Never heard of that. You guys hear that before?
Yeah. Anybody else have a filter box?
My lasers just exhaust to the outside through a fan.
Yeah, mine too.
How's your neighbors are?
Yeah, mine too. I got a dryer vent on the outside, and it's just 6-inch exhaust. It sucks it outside.
My neighbor.
Yeah, I do that in the garage.
Yeah, my neighbor thought my house was on fire one day.
Yep, my wife thought the same.
I've had that comment too. Mine vents right outside the very top of the service door to the shop. And if I'm cutting, especially if I'm cutting like cedar or something, the smoke just pours out of that.
Yeah,
you know,
Halloween doing all those fence pickets. Yeah,
neighbor's been over and says, "Everything okay?" Or, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, this is Halloween. I was doing all those jack-o'-lantern fence pickets, and my wife pulled in. She's like, "Someone's gonna call the cops. They're gonna think the house is on fire." I'm like, "Look, you yelled that our house smelled like a hamster cage."
Yeah, I have that in my garage.
Anymore,
I have that in my garage. My neighbor thought that something in my garage was burning because sometimes I work with my garage open, so you see all the equipment that I have there. But that day, everything was closed, and I had the big 6 inches pouring smoke out of the CO2. And my neighbor came to the house and knocking the door, and I was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
But yeah, no, especially some wood is really, really, really bad on that. But no, Filter Box has been great. I actually got to talk with the CEO or the president of Filter Box in the APA last week. Really nice guy, really nice guy. You know, it's few of those places that you can talk with a president and the president make jokes about his own brand. So it was really interesting. It was really nice. Yeah, that's the name, Multigraph Neo. Yeah, Filter Box. It's not the cheapest filter, but I gotta say, I have the same filters for about 8-9 months. I haven't changed them. I did open them, and I blasted with some air and take some big debris out, and just regular maintenance. But I work on carpet. that thing is over carpet in my office, and I can be eating and I don't smell anything.
That's crazy.
And I run it only on 15% because I'm using it on the XY of Raleigh. You use it on a bigger CO2, you just crank the percentage of power. I use it in 15 power.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, that's pretty
There was
crazy.
a question here a little while back about how many 3D printers we have. I don't know if they're talking to you or if they're talking to me.
I mean, if you're talking to me, I have 10.
It's a
I have
competition.
I have 16. So,
Oh, Roger.
unfortunately, four of them. Unfortunately, 4 of them are Creality.
All right, that's all,
We're gonna
folks.
get
Thank you.
phased out.
I only have 5.
I only have
Okay,
one.
we got questions in the feed here. We gotta
Right.
get to.
Yeah. You want to catch us up, Steve? I don't know where you left off.
Well, yeah, I just kind of ended up jumping all over here,
Right.
but there was
I'm
one.
curious about the questions of team, Steve.
Yes, well, yeah, there's this one. So Xtool is actually doing the live demo of that tomorrow.
Yep.
I should get one. I don't know when. It probably won't be in the first run, but I'm interested to see it. I think it's got.
But what are
potential.
your thoughts, or you reserve that for when you get one?
Well, I mean, I've talked to them quite a bit about it. It's, I mean, it's a single-purpose tool. Like it's good for making T-shirts for the most part,
Right.
but it's kind of an all-in-one process. At least if you buy the full-blown version of this thing.
Mhm.
So it's basically push a button and you get something at the other end that you can iron right onto a shirt. So
Right.
it's it's got potential. Like we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see it live.
I saw a couple. I have quite a few friends that do DTF actually, and I have a couple friends that they use already an automated system, not in the same way because there is a lot bulkier. I gotta tell you that it's like a huge machine.
Yeah.
So it prints. Once it's printing, they put it on the back of a shaker and a curing. So it goes from the printer straight to powder, curing, and keeps going into a roll. And they roll the DTF there, or they can cut it, whatever they need. So there is already automatic systems on the market. That's true. I think they're coming with a interesting technology with some of the parts of the printer, especially the maintenance part of the printer, because every person I know in DTF complain about maintenance.
Yeah, they've definitely made that their focus. It seems at least that's what they're selling.
Yeah.
So if they've conquered that, then they have something, right?
Yeah, and there's a couple others that are coming to the market on the same time in April. Is a shipping date, and they are being released between end of this month and March in some parts. They are doing the same concept of the shaker or the mixer for the white ink and the recirculation and automatic cleaning. So seems to be the competition right now on that world, on the DTF world. All the printers coming with that.
Yeah, the Pro Colored A13. I'm getting one of those for sure. And it has.
There's another one that is coming for HD front.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, I think it's about time. I think that this kind of got a little more traction.
Yeah, I think what it is you're going to start seeing that DTF printers like not something you order from overseas. It's going to be something that like Best Buy eventually carries. I think that's what it's going to become. And there's going to be residential versions, right? And then there's going to be commercial versions. You know, I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think like if Xtool is making something that you basically can print a whole roll of something, then you have a commercial tool, right?
Yeah, just the one thing I keep saying, I don't care what brand it is, a DTF printer you cannot not use. It's not like a laser printer. You can turn it on, use it one time, and 8 months later turn it back on. If you do not use your DTF printer, you will ruin your print heads. So that means that if you're not using it, you're pushing ink through it, and you're literally throwing it in a waste tank. So,
that's one of the things that's kept me away from doing.
It's a whole different animal, and I don't know if people is excited.
Here's a question for you, Andy. Not a
No,
quitter
this
has
is
posted a lot
you,
of stuff
engineer.
in here. He's building a CNC.
I don't know anything about Arduinos.
Yeah, it's got to be Arduino, and yeah, that's something you could even go into in depth on a live stream.
Yeah,
Getting that programmed.
I'm sure Not a Quitter has a reason, but I'm not sure why anyone would want to build one of these things. It's they're hard.
Some people like the challenge. Like
I've built lots of lasers. I've built 3D printers, but
I like to use CNC machines. I don't want to work on it or build it.
Sometimes it's important to go back to first principles, right, and understand.
No, that's what we have engineers in the world for.
Yes,
me.
I agree with you, Andy. I'm with you 100%, and that's why I bought the same damn CNC.
I'm divided on that. On that note,
Steve has a CNC with 4 things put together, and yet he's saying, go back to square one, right? That was the reason I wanted the same CNC that Steve has, because it's kind of idiot-proof to put it together.
Yes.
Even this statement here with 700 codecs, no way I want to get into that kind of programming.
Yeah,
that's more up Steve's alley there. He's a
well, sure, but even I'm not going to build a CNC.
I think all goes down of how much free time you have.
Right. So what's the flip side of that coin? What is your time worth, right? And if someone's already refined the process, like, there's some ways you can save money and kind of be in DIY. And there's some ways that you can just hit the ground running. You can be making money instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, right?
It even makes me think back into the early days of computers when I had my Commodore 64 and had to write everything in hexadecimal. It's just no way in hell I'd want to do that again.
So the only reason, and I could be wrong, but the only reason I can see someone wanting to do it is simply from the challenge, or just to say, like, I built this machine.
Yeah,
because there is no monetary savings if you value your time at all. There is no monetary savings.
Well, yeah. So when I built not my first laser, my third laser, when I built CNC 3D printer, sorry, when I built that, I built it for a very specific reason. At a time when most 3D printers were printing at 60 millimeters a second, I could do 300. So there was value in doing it. But now, like, you can get 600 or even 1,000, right?
You mean more for the channel.
Right. In my case, I have a note on the monetary value because I did build my motorcycle.
Nice.
Wow.
So I spent $2,000 on a Honda frame, and after I finished my bike with air shocks and everything custom that you have right now on a Harley 2024, 2025, I spent probably $8,000 in total, not 34. So I guess you build what you need based on the time and how deep you want to get into. I do have a CNC kit to build the whole thing, sitting in the box for like 8 months though.
Yeah. Look at my son just found, guys. We're talking about being old.
Oh my God! You have your pager.
He's going through a box in the basement. He's like, "Look what I just found."
Is that a pager?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I remember those days.
But
That's a new one, though. It's got a display on it.
And you can tell that it's a new Cobra.
Yeah.
So Tim wants to come to my place to see
God.
DTF printers running side by side. Tim lives probably 2.5 hours from me. So
yeah. So as far as I'm aware, like, I was one of the first 5 to have a DTF printer on stateside when there was first kind of beta testing them, so to speak. We're talking first converting L1800s and converting Epson printers to Frankensteining all Epson's parts and making their own to now probably like 7 different manufacturers really homing in on it, and so I was really, really big into DTF when it first came out. I actually took a year off of YouTube to focus my business in my apparel because DTF was such a beast to wrap my head around, because it was film, it was powder, it was inks. I don't use. They're going to sell you a package, and I felt like you didn't have the best ink, but this company does. You didn't have the best powder, but this company does. You didn't have the best film, but this company does. But I like your printer.
Yeah.
If I buy the best powder, I buy the best film, I buy the best ink, and I pair it together, it was a lot better.
So Zen Tenro said something here that I mostly agree with. If you're going to make your own machine, it should do something that a store-bought machine doesn't do. Well, I guess I do agree with it, because one of the things a store-bought machine doesn't do for you is show you how it works.
Yeah.
So if you had, like, I didn't know how a 3D printer worked when I built my first one, and I learned just a ton on how these things work.
That's exactly the reason I built a bike. I can take apart everything on my motorcycle, put it together, and I don't use a mechanic, and I don't pay $90 an hour, and I can diagnose all my problems. Same happen with the 3D printers, as you say, Steve. But one more thing is right now, you were saying, Ray, the DTF back in the days, buying heads from Epson and everything. That's something that I noticed is happening a lot right now on the UV. You can find the UV printers with Epson heads, double Epson heads, and all that assembled in every possible way. So basically, the mechanical part, that is the movable part, is made for whatever, and they just use the heads of Epson for.
Yeah, UV and fiber lasers are pretty commonly the same, right? Like fiber lasers, they all use JPT heads on them, and the Omni ones. Actually, I did see somebody using what the hell was it called? A coherent module in it, which kind of shocked me. But Coherent makes good industrial lasers.
Well, what really rocked the DTF industry was a couple of things. One, a company tried to trademark the name DTF, and they started suing anyone that used the name DTF. So there was a huge big thing on that. Two, every single DTF printer mostly every single DTF printer was all using Epson print heads. And Epson tried suing those and actually was successful in suing like the top 3 printer distributors, manufacturers in the United States, because they were using unlocked Epson print heads and kind of repurposing them. And they were saying, hey, those are genuine OEM parts. You're not supposed to be able to use those. Like, like what is it? P6000, these printers that they're converting, that were for Walgreens. Everyone knows Walgreens. Epson kind of created these printers for Walgreens to print photos. And now nobody prints photos so much, right? Because everyone's digital now. So Walgreens has thousands of these printers. Like, what are we going to do with them? And they start selling them to distributors, and distributors are converting to DTF printers. So that's how Epson started suing. So they said, hey, you're not going to be able to use our print heads. And then they did a firmware update and made it so that if it wasn't genuine, you can only do 3 cartridges, and after 3 cartridges, it wouldn't accept an aftermarket ink, so you couldn't use DTF ink. So there was a big push. Now Epson has their own DTF printer. They finally said, hey, we're not going to allow you to use our parts. We're actually just going to come out with our own. Like, you're literally taking our printer and making a DTF printer. We're just going to have our own DTF. So
with Epson, even with their sublimation, converting a 2720 Epson printer to sublimation was a piece of cake. Right. So many people were doing it that now Epson has sublimation printers.
Yep. Yeah. I have a.
Which is really the same printer. It's just got different ink in it, right?
Yeah.
Well, and it also comes with RIP software. There's a lot of different things. I mean, the package they tell when you buy a genuine commercial Epson, like I have a huge commercial grade sublimation printer, and the RIP software is insane. The software that comes with it, it's a couple $1,000s. Again, like you were talking, even with just the CAD software and the 3D software, but. The market's definitely changed, and and with these whole our new president making these new tariffs, it's going to change a lot of things too. That's why you're starting to see a lot of these companies trying to be U.S. based or U.S. manufactured, and they're not going to allow you to just classify yourself as an American made product. You have to actually have so much product in the States, even if you're purchasing parts from overseas to assemble it here. You'd have to have, let's say, like a $10 to $20 million minimum requirement of certain parts to qualify as that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So a lot of things are changing. But I think competition is good. It drives the market to be bigger, better. It drives the prices down. But yeah,
Typically, the consumer wins.
yes.
Yeah. Now the question is, any of you guys got affected by the tariff so far?
No. Not
With
so
it.
far.
Well, I was a little affected by the tariffs, but they since they suspended them for a month, I kind of bypassed what we do with our business because I was looking at a $4,000 purchase turning into a $5,000 purchase from Mexico. But fortunately, that was put off for 30 days, and that's actually due here
Yeah, the
tomorrow.
one in China wasn't put off though. I believe the one in China, I got what it was, 25% on customs
I thought it was
this
26,
time.
but either way, it's high. Yeah.
So, for example, this item, I manufacture all these in China, and actually, I'm manufacturing these ones on the same company that makes the rotary from Mexico, and the cost of the new shipping that I have now is 25% over my regular cost. That as a small business, because I don't have the quantity to just absorb that cost, is going to end up being on the customer.
Right.
So in some cases, I think the tariff is good because it will create the manufacturing labor that we need to kind of boost the economy. But there is some other parts that is not going to be great. In Peru, we have this problem before long. This is something that happened in Peru actually about 15 years ago, and it turns into kind of a shit show. But eventually, people understand and people work with that and move on with their life. But this piece here, made in the States, cost me about 6 times the price of what it cost me made in China.
Yeah.
So if I want to keep this into a price that people can buy it, because my margin and my target is people that buys a small laser, they're not buying the $42,000 laser epilogue,
Right.
So the people that buy these is the people that are spending $200 on a rotary. They don't want to pay the $1,000 for pipe burn, and that is the people that is getting affected by that, because this is going to be right now. As soon as this stock is gone, the new stock is coming with a 25% increase to cover the cost of the tariff.
And the irony is, it would cost more to make it.
Yeah, no, it's just money that goes straight to whatever.
Yeah, this
In-
is why
in
tariffs
reality-
don't work, and they just cause inflation. So
In reality,
somebody
what
will
I
do the
think
math.
what would be fair is even Steven, man. Like every country should have a negotiated rate. Mexico, how much are you going to charge us to import? 10%? We're going to charge you 10%. Canada, what are you going to charge us? That's how I think it should go. We should, if you're going to charge us 25%, we're going to charge you 25%. That's why I think it should be.
And that's typically fair, right?
Right.
But that's not what's happening.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, like in a perfect world, I think that's what it should be.
In
Hey, Dave,
a utopical world.
Yeah, we had a question really quick, actually, before we just changed that. Nancy was asking about, we didn't get to because we were kind of talking. She was looking at your website and she said, Dave, on your website, it's mostly X-Tool F1s. I would like jigs for the Calm Maker Omni 1.
They will work perfectly actually on the Con Maker. And for Omni One, if you go to jigs, and at the end of the website, there's a section that says jigs adapters. You will see one that is for Con Marker adapter. So that will let you center everything on your Con Marker. And from that point, any jig that you buy will go. We also have a whole collection for the JDS crystal and the glasses. They are made especially for the UV. In that way, the UV go through it and don't damage your jig as well, because it's hollow on the bottom, so you can put anything to cover it.
Clack, did you hear that? UV, Clack, did you hear that?
I have a UV from Con Marker, and I do have
Okay.
the UV from Houghton Laser.
Yeah. Black uses
Yeah, they all say mostly F1. The reason is because the size. Oh my God! Are you sure that's not holding your house?
My son is going through his old boxes and pulling out stuff.
I'm surprised the battery in that thing isn't blown up.
It works, so it still turns on.
So Nancy, the reason they say X2 F1 is because it's the size of the bed, and the size of the bed is 100 basically for this left to right. So when you use this as 100, it will fit on the X2 F1. but it's the same size that you have on your UV laser. The area that is covering your UV laser is 100 on the cone marker. So yeah, it's basically what it is. Someone calling.
Yeah, Rick was just passing me there, Clark.
Yeah, so I didn't mean to make our whole live go down a rabbit hole, but I think it was definitely something worth mentioning, something bringing up, because a lot of times we're talking about being practical, making profit, and we're saying that you either have to do large batches or a small quantity within a reasonable amount of time, because at the end of the day, your time is worth money. And I think that by having a jig like this is going to be able to make you to not have to do a scale of a large quantity sale, but be able to get the order done fast enough that you can still make money without having to send 100 of them. You could still, somebody said they want 2 or 1. If you bought some for $13 and you made, 1 Zippo, it's going to bring you more customers versus you taking 2 weeks creating all the jigs and doing all the math and lining everything up. So just, if you haven't already checked out his website, please do. But yeah.
I want to show you this. This is one of the biggest things to show the kind of jigs that people want sometimes that I can make. Someone asked me for this jig.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. It's such a simple thing, but if you need to make 100 of these, trust me, you want a jig. It's super simple. And this one is, by the way, on the website already.
There you go, Steve. So you can get the Playboy bunny. You'll be good.
Well, if I'm going to make more than 2 of them, I'll certainly make a jig.
Well, guys, it looks like we're at time, man. Today just flew by. I appreciate everyone who joins the live. Dave, I thank you for being able to join our live and kind of make our audience aware of your services and the products you offer. And I appreciate you jumping on the live, even especially at a very last minute, like you got time to jump on now kind of message. But you guys interested?
Now I gotta get my coffee again.
Steve, Roger, Andy, anything you want to say on the closeout?
Okay, and something, there was a lot of comments there about, you're not seeing the comments. There was a lot of comments tonight, and there was just no way we could get through them all. And we all sincerely apologize for that. So make sure you join us again. Like I said, tonight it just got wild. So get with us again, and we'll try to get to your questions and comments.
I'm intrigued how Tim made his comments. His name in the comments is green. He's the only guy there. It's green.
I think that means he's a member.
Green. Oh, cool.
Sweet.
He's certainly a member on my channel. Maybe that's
what it is.
Yeah. So
I do have a YouTube that I've been doing the educational videos and trying to teach people how to not burn the house down. So I've been doing a couple of videos here for everyone to learn and kind of sharing. Every time I do a video with a file, I just put the file there so people can grab it and try to make some money for. But yeah, my YouTube is the same name of the company. Really, this is Life Pixel Creates. This is the website. And yes, I actually was wearing my T-shirt when you called.
Let me change.
I'm there. But yes, no, I really appreciate the invite. Really nice talking to you guys. I hope we can do this again. And just kind of go not just on the jig part, but like we did a little bit of the subject of what is the maker world overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Cool.
All right. Yep. Well, thanks everyone. Appreciate you joining the live. See you next week. If we didn't get to your comments, we can still review and comment below. But otherwise, that's the purpose of live question and answers. Join us next week, and we'll get to what we can.
Okay. See you all next week.
For being here.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you, David.
Yep.
All right. See ya.